Hi, everybody. I'm Amy, and today I have an amazing guest on my channel. You might recognize him from his YouTube channel, which is Divine Imagination with Joseph Alai. Joseph, hello and welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm so glad you're here because I actually manifested this, and I wanted to share that story because we've talked about it already about how I manifested this collaboration. So I'm just going to jump right into that really quickly and then get into the content of what we're going to be talking about. So I saw his videos. He's really great into Neville Goddard. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And I was just decided I wanted to do a collaboration. So I imagined it. I imagined this, us on camera together. And it felt really real to me. And then I had a thought like, oh, I should just contact him. And I stopped. I'm like, no, no, no. I love when manifestations just orchestrate themselves. So I just waited. I went to the grocery store, and I don't know, it was like a couple hours later, some third party commented on his channel, which I ended up seeing the comment that he should collab with me. And I replied, and I was like so excited. And then you saw the comment.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And at first, all you did was you liked it and you didn't reply. So I
That's
was
right.
like, oh, okay, well, that's all right.
That was like my first day on YouTube. I had no idea. I don't really know too much about YouTube. So yeah, I saw a lot of stuff. I just went down, liked all of them, and yeah.
Right. So I was like, no worries, it's fine. It's still it's still gonna happen. So I just left it alone, and then the next day I was doing something, and suddenly I got this idea to check the comments again, and you had actually replied and watched my videos and were like, yeah, let's do it. And the interesting thing was when I replied to you, you were thinking about it at that moment, right?
That's right. I was on the phone. I was videoing with a friend, and I had brought it up in a conversation, literally like probably 5 to 10 minutes right before that. Yeah, so it's just amazing how it works.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's amazing how the timing works. So basically, Joseph and I are going to be doing a conversation about all this wonderful stuff and how the world of manifesting works. And we're going to be talking about how applying it is really important rather than just learning and getting into the theory. And we're going to talk about our personal experiences and how we got into it so you guys can hear about how two people got to this point. But the video is going to be split into two parts. The second half will be on Joseph's channel, which is going to be linked below. So make sure you go over there when you're done to finish watching this conversation, and definitely subscribe to his channel because his content is off the hook amazing. I love it. I mean, I basically manifested this because I loved it so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Joseph.
Thank you very much.
So where should we start?
So yeah, I mean, one of the questions that I always get actually, let's put it this way. I get tons of questions on like intricate details and specific questions about all these random different things. And I feel like my biggest growth came from putting all of this stuff to the test, right? Like
Yeah.
instead of for years, I was practicing somewhat, but just reading and inundating with knowledge and philosophies and theories. But it was like when I actually put it to the test, I was able to prove it to myself.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even now sometimes I notice I'm like reading a lot, reading new information and taking it all in, but that's not the same thing as actually stopping and applying it and getting into the visualization or picking what you want to focus on or getting really clear about what you might want. Like those things I schedule now into my day to take time on because sometimes we think we're manifesting and we're not. We're just thinking about manifesting. And that's like a Neville Goddard thing, right? So if you're thinking about the outcome, it's different than thinking from the outcome. It's the same thing. If you're thinking about manifesting, it's different than thinking from manifesting.
That's right. It's like, I mean, in the Bible, there's the verse that says, "Be doers of the word and not hearers only," right? And so that's what
Yep.
Neville talks about, and that's what you've just mentioned, right? So thinking about it is one thing, but actually doing it, it's the action, right? Because I can think all day, or I can read stuff or watch videos all day, but the fruit comes when I'm actually imagining. So yeah.
Yeah. What is the saying Neville always says? Like, don't, oh my gosh, of course I don't remember it. Don't eat from the tree of knowledge, eat from the tree of,
I don't know the verse,
yeah.
but Eat from the Tree of Good and Evil really talks about like um, just do it, you know,
Just do it. Basically, just do it. So yeah. So the example I use when I coach, by the way, Joseph is also a coach if you're interested in that. The example I use with people is, look, we can talk about how to ride a bicycle for 50 years, but you don't know how to ride it unless you put the book down, you go outside and you wobble around on it. That's how you learn. You learn so much faster by, you know, touching base with the information and then applying it, because you learn what works and what doesn't work, especially for you, by seeing it play out. And what you also find out what doesn't work, by the way.
That's right. Like, you know, I think in the beginning it's important, like, to do this research. Yeah, it's important because there's a lot of people that don't know exactly what they're talking about, right? So for a long time, I was going back and forth and just listening to people and testing certain things out. But once I found something that worked, right, I was able to then test it, put it to the test, and prove it, because, like you said, not every technique is going to be the best for me, right? And so, like, one of the ways that I always do manifest or imagine, like, I will write things down. I'll write down my intention so I can look at before and after. I can actually prove to myself that these things work, and I'll just play with it. I'll do some things, I'll bring into my mind's eye, some things I'll hear, some things I'll touch, some whatever, you know, but it's about testing it for me, you know?
Yeah, and just so you know, long before the internet, because I'm not older than the internet. I might be older than the internet, but long before the internet, I was in college, and I actually journaled for, I think, 4 years, and I didn't really tell anybody what I was doing. And I would write down the things I wanted to see, and I would see it play out, and I would go back and highlight it and be like, this happened in 4 days, or this happened. I just played with it and played with it and played with it and proved it to myself over and over again. And that was when I just basically had like some books I was reading and just giving it a whirl and seeing what I could, you know, manifest with it.
I actually do the same, like, even now to this day, I every single day, and I always tell my viewers to do the same thing, is like, I make a list of a few things, at least 5 things every single day. It could be things that don't really matter or things that do matter. It doesn't matter, but I'll write them down, and then I'll close it. I'll forget about it. I don't put too much attention into it. And then I go back. I look the next day. I see, oh, that manifested, that manifested. I got that free cup of coffee. The old friend messaged me. And even now, like, with the ability to manifest whatever, you know, the big things, the small things, I still do that for myself, to always think about it and build that faith and that excitement, you know?
Yeah. So I manifest finding coins, and some people have asked me about this because I spam my Instagram stories with it. And it's really interesting because a lot of people find coins as a sign of money or something, but I practice. So I will be taking a walk, I'll be at the store, I'll be out and about. I will imagine finding a coin, often a particular coin like a penny or a quarter or whatever. And I will imagine that I will find it within the next few minutes. And then it happens. So I take a picture of it and I post it on my Instagram. So I practice with coins all the time, not because I need a coin, who cares, right? But because it's that constant reminder, like, I know what I'm doing, I'm good at this. And so I think a lot of times people pick one big thing to focus on, the biggest, most important thing in their life, which, by the way, you can manifest it. We can do that too, but you want to be able to have that reassurance along the way that things are working for you. So don't be afraid to practice with little dinky stuff like coins or cups of coffee or whatever, because sometimes I get more excited about finding a coin than I do a big manifestation, by the way.
I hear you, and I fully agree with what you're saying. Like, by the way, my thing is, my lucky number, or my favorite number, is 74, right? Whenever I see that, I know that I'm on the right path for whatever I'm trying to do. But with coins, I'll get into an Uber, I'll look down, there's a penny, 1974. So it's just funny that you said that. But the thing with that one big thing too, right? Like, there's a one big thing, and that's all that people focus on, and there's a lot of resistance built in, and maybe they're not seeing the results. And the problem with that is, if that's the only thing that you're focusing on and you're not manifesting it, then it doesn't feel good. So I agree with you 100%. I tested on everything, all the issues that I encounter in my day. I automatically imagine the solution. Every chance that I get, I'm imagining, because it's like a new meaning to life and excitement to constantly see your manifestations wherever you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable how many manifestations you can have in one day if you allow it to be all sorts of things rather than just the one big thing you're working on. I was in Texas recently for a wedding, and I don't know why I'm talking about the coins still, but a friend of mine who lives in a different state, who doesn't spend a lot of time with me in person, had never seen me pick up a coin. She just knows that I do it, and I talk about it, and I post pictures of them. And she, at the end of the day, I picked up like 8 or 9 coins that day. She's like, I've never seen anybody have so much joy and glee about picking up a dirty coin off the ground. Now, the other thing is the amount of joy that you get when you have a manifestation. It's like, it like totally boosts your mood on top of, you know, so it's like a wonderful thing to keep you in a happy place too, just so you know.
I agree. Like, and the thing about testing it too is that, like for me, I notice is like, I'm less in my own mind because I'm observing to like be present for when a manifestation unfolds. Like last night I recorded a video. I haven't posted it yet, but today I was having a conversation with someone, and they opened a book and they read the title of, it was like a daily reflection, and it was the exact topic that I recorded a video on yesterday. But if I hadn't been observant, then I would never have noticed it. But it's so amazing, and it's so exciting, you know?
It really is. So we had been discussing Neville Goddard's ladder exercise, and we both tried it. We both tried it after we'd already had successes in manifesting. Yes.
Yes.
So we wanted to share that with you because we kind of have funny stories about it. So if you don't know what it is, I'm actually going to let you explain it because I feel like you would probably do it better than me.
So basically, when Neville would lecture and people would be going to see him for the first time, he would give them the ladder exercise. And so what he would tell them would be to, at the end of the night, imagine that you're climbing up and down a ladder, but then all throughout the day, tell yourself, I'm not going to climb a ladder. I'm not going to climb a ladder. And the point is that no matter what you say or do, like that thing that you bring into your imagination will manifest. No matter what you say or do, if you imagine it, it's going to manifest into this reality.
Right. Okay, so can I tell mine first?
Please do. Yeah.
Okay, so I already knew how to manifest really, really well by the time I found Neville and heard this information. So I was like, I'll just try it. So I was going to bed that night and I started climbing the ladder, and it's first person. So you imagine like climbing it and feeling it, and you know what it would really be like if you were doing it in physical reality, but you're laying in bed with your eyes closed. And I kept thinking about how much I just didn't actually want it to work because I didn't want to climb a ladder. And I was like, please don't make me climb a ladder. Please don't make me climb a ladder. But I kind of also wanted it to work because I thought it was really neat. So I wasn't saying like, I'm not going to climb a ladder. I'm like, I don't really want to. So the next day I get up and I was at my house and I was in my living room, which is also strange because I'm not normally down there. I'm usually in my office or something. And I'm just sitting there having coffee and I hear this knock on my front door, and I have a glass door and a regular door. So if I open the regular door, there's a glass door. So I hear this knock on the glass door. It was like bang, bang, bang. And I was like, what is that? So I go and open the door. By the way, this is my house. There's nobody coming to visit me. There's no like workers coming. I open the door and there's a ladder that had knocked onto my door with a man on it. I can see his feet and he's cleaning my gutters. And I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, I didn't have to climb the ladder. And I like, shut the door. I was like so delighted. It knocked on my front door. I thought it was crazy. I thought it was so cool.
That's seriously amazing. And it's like, it really does go to show though, like the end, right? Imagining the end, the desire fulfilled, right? You just imagine that ladder there and it manifests, right? It's just, it's like easy. You took no action. You didn't make anything or maneuver anything for it to unfold, and it just went straight to you. Mine is a little bit different, but in the Facebook group that I run, someone had asked the question, what is, explain the exercise to me, right? So the ladder exercise, I typed maybe about 5 sentences. I gave the details, the ones that I just described to you guys before. And I sent it, I shut my laptop, I went to work, and it was my first day in the new office in downtown San Diego, up the road. And I got in and there was like this little room that was outside, but it's in the center of the building, right? So it's like a glass door. You can open it and you can look up and you're outside. So I went in there. I was like, this is pretty cool. and I looked to my right, and there was an orange ladder right there. And I was looking up because there's a rooftop right above. And I put my hand on the ladder, climbed up one step. And as soon as I climbed up one step, I immediately realized that I was literally just thinking about this and talking about this. So it's simple, right? It's fun and it works. It's just so amazing.
Yeah, and this is a perfect segue into talking about how you don't necessarily have to be imagining as you're falling asleep or doing a specific visualization. Many of my manifestations have just been in my head as I'm moving about my day while I'm driving. Well, I think in one of your videos you mentioned that you like to do that while you're driving. I do as well. Where you just sort of imagine that your eyes are obviously open, you're paying attention, but you can still sort of focus on what it is you want. But also the thoughts in your head, the mental conversations. Like there's different ways that you can manifest, which I think also can be confusing for a lot of people who are new to the manifesting community, because they think there's just only one way to do that. And there's not. There's lots of ways to do it. And that's why you want to play around with it and experiment with it and find out you might love doing it one way over another versus somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm driving, I do inner conversations. When I wake up in the morning, I imagine the end of the day and me saying, wow, today was such an amazing day.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the day, I write that list of a few different things. Any problem that comes up, I think of the solution for. During the end of the day, I will do a full-on imaginal scene. Sometimes throughout the day, I'll do conversations. I like all day, because this really is the solution to every problem. And so I just try to use it as many different ways as I possibly can and get as many results as I possibly can.
Yeah, I do that as well. And it sounds like for maybe someone who isn't accustomed to doing it as often as maybe you or I do, it sounds like it might be exhausting, but it isn't. It's invigorating, and it doesn't disrupt your day. It's like part of your day. It's like I don't know how to describe it, but it frees you up rather than burdens you. Because I think sometimes when people think about manifesting, they think they have to micromanage themselves. That's not exactly how it is for me. It's more of I want to do this. This is really exciting. I want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it just becomes habit.
So thank you for watching. This is the end of part 1. If you definitely want to see the rest of this conversation, head over to Joseph's channel at Divine Imagination, where you will hear the rest of it for part 2. And thank you, Joe, for being on my channel.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.